Excuse the fluff in my hair, but yeah, a lot of you guys have been asking about the Street Fighter 6 and Zenless collab that got announced, or rather the article. I didn't read it. I mean, by the time you're watching this video, I read it. At that time when you asked me, I didn't read it. But I'm actually making this video so I can double down with Smack, because I saw his community post and I chuckled. I saw the comments and then I watched the video and I saw a couple other things on Twitter. Y'all might be a little brain rotted. Y'all might be a little like intellectually malnourished. I don't want to attack everybody, but it's kind of weird and it's really odd whenever the Hoyo space, and it's only the Hoyo space, how the Hoyo space like just amalgamates this idea that only Genshin or only Hoyo games matter and that anything outside of that doesn't exist is crazy to me. But let me elaborate from a fighting game perspective on why this particular collab, this announcement, is way bigger than you think. So if you don't know, this is coming from IGN's latest article, or rather one of their latest articles, with the producer, if I'm not mistaken, being Jinyu Lee, that they had at a media event and they were able to get an interview with him just briefly, and they gave us some information on that. And so while most of us thought that this game was inspired by Persona 5, which it kind of is, just like from the urban city aspect of it, it's actually not the major inspirations of the game. And I'll talk about those in a little bit, because like honestly, that's like two of my favorite things. So it lines up perfectly. The thing that we're talking about right now is going to be Street Fighter 6, or rather Capcom. And Capcom is the most important part here, not so much Street Fighter 6. The reason I say that is because coming from a Street Fighter player primarily, especially Street Fighter 6, Capcom has already put inside of Street Fighter 6 at least, we've had what, 4 different collabs now, and this spans across a number of Capcom's games. In fact, anything Capcom is 9 times out of 10, it's lined up to have its own collab within another franchise from Capcom. So when it comes to Street Fighter, while I'm looking at this from a collaborative perspective, and I'm assuming other people like, oh yeah, man, I totally wait for like Ken or Chun-Li to be in the game. I don't think we're gonna get a Chun-Li or Ken or Cammy or Nabuki. As much as I would love them to be in the game, I don't think we're gonna get that. But what you can look at, and this goes into what I'm saying here about the implications that are not being looked at when it comes to a Zenless X anything collab, but in particular Capcom. As of right now, Capcom has some of, if not the best video game assets on the market. You take a company like Hoyoverse, which has recreated the it's not Unreal, it's the other engine, I forget what it is, but they've recreated the game engine itself. Like, they've messed with this game engine so much that it's no longer this game engine. It's their Unity, I think is what it is. It's Unity 4 or something like that. They've messed with this so much that it's basically the Genshin engine or the Hoyo engine, and they're able to do whatever they want, however they want, and it's just theirs. No one else is recreating this. You take Capcom, who has completely retwisted their own version of Unreal Engine and then turned it basically into the Capcom engine. I don't really know how to explain it. A good example of this would be Monster Hunter World, Monster Hunter Wilds getting ready to come out, and then all of the Resident Evil remakes, right? If you look at the Resident Evil remakes in particular, all of them are running on this particular engine, and it's so beautiful. So you take two companies that have established, hey, we've created our own engine. We've taken something graphically and turned it into our own thing. When you put two powerful minds, two creative minds in the same space, what do? They come up with banger ideas. It doesn't matter if they're collaborating or not. If the producer of Capcom, the runner of Street Fighter 6, is in Mr. Lee's ear and he's telling him, hey, yo, you know what you should do? We got this character called Cammy. Cammy has dive kicks, and we also got a character called Ibuki. Ibuki has what we call Samuji loops, okay? And she like does a spin kick and she can link them together. What if you took the concept of that and then took those moves, we'll give you the assets, and then you put it in Zenless? Why would he do that, EO? Because he likes the game. If he likes the game, if he's actively playing the game, hey man, my buddy is the producer of Street Fighter 6. His favorite character is Chun-Li. He loves spinning bird kick. We should put that in the game. And that's what they'll do. It's that simple, okay? But I have more examples for you to kind of break down everything that I saw, or rather the Capcom franchises that I saw Smack pull up. And then I want to break these down even further for like why you guys should be thinking about this in an ecstatic way. So I already talked about Street Fighter, and I talked about some of the characters. Mostly, we're going to go over the mechanics, or rather the concepts of these characters. Cammy having a dive kick, having spiral arrow, having the hooligan combo, Chun-Li having spinning bird kick, Ibuki with the Samuji loops and the neck breaker, just the movement overall, the dash. And then of course you have Ken having fireball, having cancels, having uppercuts, and all of this stuff leads into what can we do with a character. The concept of this alone, just Street Fighter characters in general having over 100 something characters, you have almost an infinite amount of ideas, concepts, executed perfectly, or even half-assed if you want to look at like Alpha 3, for instance, and you can put these characters in a Zenless. Now you have an infinite resource of creating brand new characters that are interesting, that attract not only gacha game players because they've never seen stuff like this before, but now you're attracting a fighting game player audience. I say this because, just like Smack mentioned, getting gacha game players to play something, they're on and off, right? A lot of you guys are like, oh yeah, Genshin till the day that I die, Star Rail till the day that I die, Nikkei till the day that I die. That's your game, you're sticking to it. That's totally fine. But when you look at it from like anyone else, some of the things that I always say when it comes to Zenless as well as Wuthering, there were actually one key thing that I said about both of these games, and it was the same exact thing. I said the one thing that would ruin each game is if they keep making content or they keep making development on the game and they have no idea who their target audience is. Wuthering is going through that right now, where they want a hardcore player base and they also want casuals, and what they're trying to do, from what we can tell, is convert casual players into hardcore players that grind on the game all day as if it were an MMO. The problem with that is you don't have the MMO aspects built into the game to keep players there. So it goes from casual, oh, we could get to end game, that takes too long, drop the game, go play something else, and now you're left with like a 5% of hardcore players. Zenless's problem back in CBT2 was that they wanted to introduce a casual, have fun, here's a lot of crazy combos and things that you can do in the game with roguelike features that we want to focus on some in-game compared to our other two Hoyo brethren, Genshin and Star Rail, and we want to get you there. Their problem was, we don't like this TV stuff. It's too many TA, bro. You got to cut this out. Why is the resources taking so? There's too many resources. What's going on here, man? I can't do that. Oh man, gameplay is cool. Why the enemies not fighting back? What's going on? Where? It's easy. I could just mash square and triangle. Come on, bro. They had a problem. So now neither developer could figure out what the target audience is. If in the event talking to Street Fighter developer, talking to Capcom, helps them clear their mind, going, because we've heard some things. I know some things. Can't talk about it publicly, but CBT3. Going into the final version, hey, they changed some stuff, okay? And because of that, I'm just assuming it's because of this Capcom stuff, and their mind is clear, all right? They have more clarity on what it is they want to do in their target audience. If their target audience is bringing in new people who don't play gacha games and having something to feed gacha game players, that's an automatic dub. Easy. That's an automatic dub that people are not thinking. F the collab. I don't care about, hey man, are we gonna get Chun-Li in the... I don't care. I don't even like Ryu. All right. I like Akuma. I don't care if Akuma's in it. I want them to take the practices and concepts, put it in Zenless. But Street Fighter's not the only thing that we have to talk about. Beautiful Joe, which, listen, some of y'all know what I be saying and some of you don't. You all, what are you saying at the beginning of Henshin a Go-Go baby? That is literally from... If you didn't know what I was saying, I'm a Beautiful Joe babe. Come on, bro. If they took anything Beautiful Joe related, the Super Sentai action from that, right? Anything Super Sentai, which pump it in the game, I already know what's coming. Pump it in the game, Beautiful Joe. There are mechanics in Beautiful Joe that could absolutely be implemented in the Zenless Zone Zero. Be abused, be fun, slow down mechanic, whatever you want to do, right? All of this stuff from Beautiful Joe, slap it in the Zenless. You call it a done deal, bro. I would orgasm if I saw some beautiful anything in ZZZ. Next, we can talk about Monster Hunter, because Monster Hunter is, you don't even need characters for Monster Hunter. You take the monsters. We already know that Zenless has this post-apocalyptic kind of like netherworld-ish or void world theme with the monsters. But if you were to take a Rathalos and put it in the game, you were to take a Tigrex and put it in the game, anything like a Zenalgr, Electron, whatever the case may be, right? You could take freaking, I hate this monster. I can't even think of I don't remember the monster's name, but the one that Basil Geese. I can't stand that motherfucker. You could take that and put it in the game. And a perfect example of this from another gacha game, they didn't admit it, but I know what it's from. And when I saw it, that's why I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna play the game now. Punishing Gray Raven. PGR has an event that was not permanent, although it should have been, and it added a monster that almost bar for bar had the same model as a Nargacuga or a Tigrex, which is they're like the Panther or Tigrex, right? The tiger type monster in the game. And so basically PGR took the same move set, the spin tail move, the flip attack, the tail slam, the jump high in the air and then throw spikes at the ground. They took the entire bone of Tigrex slash Nargacuga and then put it in their game. What's stopping Zenless from doing that, but with Capcom's assets, approval, and here's how we did it. Here's how to perfect it. Here's how to put more monsters in the game. In fact, take an entire world. That's another thing that no one is talking about right now, how this collab has so much potential. Take the world of Monster Hunter. Hey, bro, we heard you like Legia Crust. Go ahead and take Mogi Village or Mogi Village, slap it on in the game. Call it a done. Go ahead and take Poke Village. Shout out to Mr. Poke. Slap it in the game. You want the Frost Mountain from the Poke Mountains? Go ahead and slap it in the game. Go ahead and put Tigrex and Blagonga. Endless potential. You have the monster mechanics, right? The Clutch Claw is another thing that we could talk about. Swimming is another thing, or underwater combat is another thing. I would love if we got underwater combat in ZZZ. Moving into Devil May Cry, because air combos, cancels, the actual like literally stylish combo. And you just cling, 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 and you see the little swords, and it goes stylish, devilish. All that stuff from Devil May Cry would be slapped into ZZZ, and you would call it a done deal. I'm telling you, the potential that collabing with Capcom out of all companies for ZZ, not Hoyo, for ZZZ to have is it puts them on top of the map. The way that I'm geeking out right now is the same way that anyone from the FGC would be geeking out right now. If anybody from the FGC saw ZZZ and they, oh yeah, man, you know, hey bro, they put Cammy and Chun-Li in the game. What do you mean by that? Yeah, the new collab banner, they put Cammy and Chun-Li in the game. Like in Zenless, there's a Cammy and Chun-Li that are, you know, modified to fit the Zenless world, and they have Spiral Arrow, Spinning Bird Kick, her dive kick, and Kikosho as their special moves. They got ultimates, like they got a burst move. Oh yeah, bro, they got a burst move. They got like Ultra Kikosho or whatever. You know how fast they're gonna download the game, and then it's like, oh yeah, bro, you can guarantee the character at $100. Easy, take my money. We don't care. The FGC is not as, I don't really stoic. I don't know how to explain it, but you guys have this weird, from what I've saw in the comments, y'all have a weird interpretation of what the FGC likes and will do versus what we don't do. Support a content creator? We not gonna do that. We as in them, not me. I had to throw that little sly mark in there, but in all seriousness, we do a lot. We will jump. Anything that allows us to beat somebody's ass or do sick ass combos, we're locked in. Wrapping this up, I want to talk about Mega Man just briefly. Anything. Mega Man, anything. The world, the Mega Buster, anything that you want to add into it. Even better, I would love if we got Mega Man X. What do I mean by that? I mean, you know how, well, some of you don't know, but if you play Mega Man, you know what I'm talking about. Mega Man has the ability to basically copy his enemies and then get their power. Even if it wasn't permanent, I would love if we had a zone or a world that allowed you to do that. In Zenless, there's a boss that phases through and he disappears or slides across the screen. He shoots an arrow and then the arrow kind of stuns you for a bit. What if we defeated that and like, okay, cool. So now during the roguelike, you have the ability to use his ability and you can zoom across the map. That would be sick. I would love inspiration like that from Mega Man and slap it into Zenless. That's OD. That's a golden idea. Yo, Zenless, Mr. Lee, I give you full permission to take what I'm talking about, even though you're probably already thinking about it. Just go ahead and implement it. I want 5%, but go ahead and implement it, right? You know what? Not even 5%. Give me all the pulls. I don't want to have to spend money. I don't want to pull for anything. Give me guaranteed or 5%, and then I'm gonna just spend it on the game. It doesn't matter. But the last thing that I want to talk about when it comes to all that is Digimon World, which Digimon World is the thing that that is the other inspiration. If we scroll down here, we can see Zenless Zone Zero inspirations. Lee acknowledged that the ZZZ team received many comparisons to Persona 5, with both sharing a stylish city setting. Why does it sound like I'm saying shitty setting? City setting, though. He said they're hoping to create something unique. And though there may be some visual and musical similarities, the heart of the game doesn't have its root in Persona. Aside from the urban setting, one element that reminds Persona players like myself, which like myself is him, of Atlus's series is ZZZ's time system. Similar to Persona 5, ZZZ has 4 points in the day with different activities available as time passes with mission completion and other triggers. Lee explained his inspiration for ZZZ's time mechanic was actually instead from a much older game important to his childhood, fucking Digimon World. Bro, I need y'all to understand, when I read this, when I heard about this, I lost it. Digimon World, I know I'm like a huge Pokemon fan, right? Digimon World is my jam. That's it. If you talk to me about Digimon World, I'm in there. World 3 is my favorite game, especially from the PS1. So when I saw that and I'm like, yo, Digimon World, the time system, that makes a lot more sense now. I can imagine different mechanics being in place in the ZZZ. The Bang Boos, now that I'm thinking about it, are basically Digi-Eggs, or rather the baby form of the Digimon after it comes out of the Digi-Egg. But same thing, developing a Bang Boo, if they were to change that and make it work in a different type of way, where you can essentially breed Bang Boos or like have them make offspring with better stats, that would also be something they could take advantage of, or rather take inspiration from with Digimon World. I don't think it stops here at the time setting. I think it actually goes deeper than that. We just don't have access to it because all of us have only been able to play basically the one zone of the game. Coming back to the paragraph, the 1999 game also features a clock with specific events that happen at particular times throughout the day. These are going to be certain events where like maybe you can see Ambi hanging out and she's waiting for you to get ice cream with her, or you see Nicole and she's asking you to help her get her money back, things like that. The other major inspiration was surprisingly Street Fighter 6, and we've already gone over this. Though ZZZ is an action game more akin to Devil May Cry and not a fighting game, you can see the inspirations in its fast combat, emphasis on stunning enemies, and chaining combos. That last little bit, that whole sentence, is very important. What this is telling me is that the future iteration of characters that we're going to be seeing coming through from 1.1, or even, you know, Zhuyan coming in the game, because I've had a chance to play her, going from that all the way to 1.1, 1.2, all the different designs that we've seen, I could easily see new characters coming into the game and then pretty much focusing on exactly what we just saw. Chaining attacks or chaining combos together between teammates. So maybe we can see what I was looking forward to or hoping for would have been something like assist combos, right? That would be something great to implement in the game. R1, L1, and then you can summon a character and they'll come out and do something. Or having a character and their special ability or their action, their passive, is to be able to trigger coming out in the field while there is an active driver on the field and then doing whatever it is, or having an ability to do that, hitting like a baseball bat or an orb, whatever, that bounces around in between your attacks, or leaving an orb or something like that on the field so that you can chain attacks together. That would be pretty sick. And then of course the emphasis on stunning enemies that I'll go over in a whole different video, but I've talked about it before, how days is important, or these stats in the game are important. Anomaly buildup is important. And in Zenless in particular, while yeah, the Google Sheets and everything else will matter, it's gonna matter for a different reason, not so much for like, this is your best relic set, do this, because you don't really have a best combo, right? But I will say, being the gamer that I am, playing the game and then talking with other people who are fighting game players like Soul, who have done this thing, Rihu, we've all done this thing. The combos in the game may be basic, but I promise you it's something that you're not gonna see in Google Sheets. Anyhow, I'm gonna wrap up today's video. I think I've held y'all's interest or time long enough. I really just wanted to come in here and like talk mad shit, because when I saw what happened with Smack and like I saw the responses he was getting, I got a little heated because I'm like, yo, why are y'all this dumb? But I don't want to say that because I don't want to call you guys that word, right? You just didn't know, right? That's you didn't know. You were unaware and now you're educated. Yeah, I fed your intellect. You are no longer intellectually malnourished. So now when you see something like this with the collab, when you hear us talking about Capcom X ZZZ, now your perception of like concepts leagues above what you had before, right? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the video down below and tell me how you feel about this entire collab, what you're looking forward to. I don't know, let me know. If one of you tell me Onimusha is your favorite Capcom game, I'll believe it. Anyway, I can't say my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Smell you later.